Oh, do I have a favourite light?
That's a tough one.
I sort of believe that there's a tool for every purpose.
You know, everybody has their own little systems and their own little tools that they prefer, and I'm very open to always discover new lights, especially now what's happening with, you know, the LED technology.
I like a Source 4. I could see a smoke ray with it. I could bounce it into a card and make it a fill light. I could throw it through diffusion and make it a key light. So if I had to only use one light, I could take, you know, a couple Source 4s and do tons of things with it.
Yes. I like light panels. I really believe in their products. They're very reliable and I love using them.
I really love working with very broad, large sources.
I like the Arri T12. I've always liked just the quality of light that comes out of that lamp. For some reason or another, appeals to my eye. Any of the Mole Richardson products, the tungsten lamps, there's just something about them that appealed to me.
12 by 12 or 3 meter by 3 meter source and back it up with a second one 4 feet away with a softer and 2 layers of softness, and then punch a lot of light through it. And you have this beautiful wrapping light.
A very large tungsten unit with a good mirror and a good filament is still unbeatable. But then again, the beauty of having a very soft source like an LED blanket of some sorts very close to the actor with no heat emitting, it's also very attractive. I think the best light is the one I used yesterday.
My favorite light of any light I've ever used is the one I've turned off. Again, there's such a broad spectrum of things to use today, and they can be household units. You can go down to Home Depot and find enough things to light a set with that will look really good. And that was not true until very recently. And we have very sophisticated LEDs and new technologies coming in terms of lights with smaller, lighter units that don't use much power. They're just fabulous, and they allow us to do things quicker and more efficiently.
Something that I learned very early on is that it's the quality of the light that counts, and high quality light doesn't fall off the shelf. You have to go and find it. When you find something that gives you beautiful skin tones, is soft and sympathetic, you want to hang on to that tool. My favorite, I suppose, lighting instrument would be a 2K blonde. It's an incandescent open eye light that is so rudimentary. Is exquisite when it's used properly.
My favourite light on Ghost in the Shell was DS1, that single like block of like LED that I had remotely, and I could like chase Scarlett around with it and give her an eye light, you know, wherever she was. But you know, at other times my favourite light has been a 20K tungsten light, you know. On Serenity was the 20K mole beam, you know, which I had on a 120-foot cherry picker and, you know, recreated a lighthouse effect with. It's a constantly evolving process as to what I love at that particular moment and for that particular project.
I would invent a light that it would be like the light panels like light gear, but it would be in a way that you can fold it, right? So you can have it almost as a tube, but then you could fold it and have it more like this size as well. And it would have somehow a magic box that creates like a soft box, like a diffusion. I think as long as I have the 6 channels from light gear and I have a beautiful diffusion on them and I have a DMX board so that I can change the colors, you know, during the shot and the intensity, and have a beautiful soft light, I would be very happy with that.
Or at least when I came up and I was a gaffer for a number of years, the punch to size to price ratio of a 1200 par was like kind of amazing to me, you know, that we could have this small, very punchy light that could plug into a wall, and now there's like with an M18, you know, you've got a tremendous amount of light in a relatively small power situation. 1200s worked for me for decades. Now some of these large LED arrays are really amazing. You know, you can travel with them, stick them up on a wall, bicolor with green magenta correction or full RGB. The lights now have gotten really amazing.
If I could work with any light, it would be an arc. We had the most beautiful light source from arc lights that you can ever imagine. And it was a shame when we phased out of them, because there is nothing that makes that kind of alive light.
It's about the feeling, how you're serving the story, you know, how things are unfolding in terms of the visual structure that you're trying to work through with the director. You could take almost any unit off a shelf, and in the context of what you're doing in the moment, I might say that's the best light I've ever seen in my life. And I made a joke, or tried to make a joke, about the best light I ever used, or my favorite light is the one I turned off. And that's true, absolutely, because it's taken me many, many years to learn to be simple in my approach to things, and it always is about what you don't use rather than what you do use.